Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the program on this Monday, August 3rd. Live from our studio in Seoul, I'm Shin Se-min. Before we begin, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. Heavy downpours sweep across the country, especially in the capital Seoul and central regions. Flooding has also closed bridges and roadways. And on top of this, 300 millimeters of rain is still in the forecast. More action likely. Washington's top diplomat says U.S. President Trump will shortly take action on what he sees as a broad array of national security risks presented by software connected to the Chinese Communist Party. Microsoft says it'll seal a deal to acquire China's TikTok by mid-September. NASA astronauts splashed down in the SpaceX Dragon capsule near Florida, the first mission completed in a commercially built and operated spacecraft with an American crew. The team caps a historic mission to the International Space Station, starting off a new era in human spacecraft. Our top story this morning. Torrential rain lashed at South Korea over the weekend, causing 6 deaths and leaving 8 still missing. Nearly 1,500 people had to flee their homes to emergency shelters, and it also damaged infrastructure and hundreds of properties. Our Ji-young with the details.
The torrential rain devastated many parts of South Korea over the weekend, especially in the capital and its surrounding regions. According to the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters, as of 6 a.m. on Monday, 6 deaths were confirmed, while 8 others are unaccounted for. The casualties were mostly caused by flooding and landslides. Among the dead, 1 person in Gyeonggi-do Province and 4 others in Chungcheongbuk-do Province died on Sunday due to a landslide. The previous day, a man in his 80s was killed as he has been swept away by a swift current. 6 people were injured in Gangwon-do Province due to a landslide. Also, it flooded more than 480 houses, leaving at least 818 people homeless, and roughly 1,500 people have temporarily evacuated and are taking emergency shelter. Parts of Gangwon-do Province and Gyeonggi-do Province saw up to 80 millimeters of precipitation an hour over the weekend. At least 107 landslides occurred in Gyeonggi-do and Chungcheongbuk-do provinces, damaging private and public facilities. Meanwhile, several roads have been closed in Seoul as the Hangang River's level has risen sharply. The low-lying Jamsu Bridge in Seoul has been completely closed off to traffic since 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. The Prime Minister said on Monday the authorities should go all out to prevent further damage.
Due to the monsoon front that is continuing for more than 40 days, there has been damage in many parts of the country, especially in Gyeonggi-do Province and Chungcheongbuk-do Province. I urge related authorities to strictly restrict the public from entering underpasses in areas of a potential danger.
He also called on citizens to refrain from going out as this week will be the end of the monsoon season. The government is focusing on the search for the missing, and other recovery efforts are also ongoing. Ji-young, Arirang News.
Staying with that developing story, here in capital Seoul, it's been on and off with heavy rain in the early hours of this Monday morning. And with the rising water levels in the central of Han River, many roadways and low-lying bridges in and around the capital have been closed to pedestrians and drivers as a precautionary measure. And that is where our Chang Tae-hyun joins us live from this morning for a clear picture of what we're looking at today. So Tae-hyun, the Jamsu Bridge still remains closed at this hour?
Yes, Taemin. I'm staying here at Jamsu Bridge since 5 a.m. today, and the situation is quite severe in here. As you can see behind me, there is a way for people and cars, but it's currently flooded due to heavy rain. Use of this bridge has been restricted as of 6 p.m. Sunday, meaning no vehicles are permitted to use it. Last night, this bridge was almost underwater, with the water level reaching around 7 meters. If the level is 5.5 meters or higher, people aren't allowed to walk across the bridge. And if it's over 6.2 meters, no cars are allowed. The water level right now is around 6.5 meters. People will also have to be aware of any traffic updates, as there's the possibility of roadblocks. In another part of Seoul, as of 5:30 a.m., the Dongbu Expressway has been closed, and the interchange roads in Banpo, Jamwon, Simjamwon, and Oksu are closed as well. Looking at the central region, Chungcheongbuk-do province also saw a huge amount of rain overnight, resulting in landslides and gas explosion, as well as submerging houses and camping sites. And Gangwon-do province also evacuated scores of residents over fears that the high waters may break the embankments. There's more rain to come, so be sure to watch for the latest updates. I'm Jang Tae-hyun reporting live from the Jamsu Bridge. Back to you, Semin.
Thank you, our Jang Tae-hyun, with those latest updates. Shifting focus, another round of housing market-related measures are set to be unveiled as early as Tuesday this week as the government scrambles to supply more homes in and around capital Seoul. At a closed-door meeting on Sunday, members of the ruling Democratic Party, the government, and the presidential office reportedly decided that newly added homes would reach around 100,000 units. As for ways to secure that many, the government is reportedly reviewing sites under reconstruction and redevelopment plans, ideal sites and near the capital, as well as the residential development on a state-owned golf course. The Moon administration has introduced dozens of measures aimed at trying to cool the overheated real estate market, but most have ended up having the opposite effect. South Korea's ruling party is still pushing to move the administrative capital from Seoul to Sejong. And members of the party's special task force in charge of renewing the decade-old plan is to be headed down to Sejong for an on-field inspection this morning. And they'll be touring the prospective sites for government offices and also the presidential office, should the party win support for the relocation plan. Now, the party hopes a move, if approved, will cool an overheated housing market, but many still question the feasibility of that. Our Lee Kyung-eun explains.
Back in 2002, the South Korean government proposed a special act for creating a new administrative capital. But the Constitutional Court struck it down, saying the capital Seoul is part of our unwritten and customary constitution. Thus, changing the status is unconstitutional. That instead led to the construction of an administrative city, Sejong, but only some of the government institutions were moved there. 16 years have passed and the capital relocation is gaining traction again. The ruling Democratic Party has proposed the idea to increase housing supply in Seoul amid soaring real estate prices. This time, though, they're trying to move core institutions like the National Assembly and the Blue House.
To begin the discussions for the completion of an administrative capital, I officially propose to lawmakers and citizens that the National Assembly make a special committee for it.
The proposal is rapidly gaining momentum with the first meeting of the team last week. But a major legal hurdle lies ahead, the previous core ruling. 3 approaches can be taken to address the issue, the most clear way being amending the constitution by inserting the phrase, "Our capital is Sejong City." But a constitutional amendment will require the support of 2/3 of the National Assembly, and it is very unlikely to get the support from the main opposition party, which remains largely critical of the plan. The second will be submitting another special act to the parliament, like in 2002.
There were a lot of criticism regarding the previous ruling that it's wrong constitutional interpretation, the customary constitution rationale. Maybe the ruling party believes the current court would make a different decision, but it's unlikely to do so because they have to keep the precedence of unconstitutionality.
Another idea is to hold a national referendum asking the public to decide. The latest national poll shows opinions are largely split over the issue. The ruling party aims to finalize which method to use by the end of the year, but experts say that the third method is the most plausible at this moment in time. Lee Kyung-eun, Arirang News.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says President Trump will soon take action against Chinese software companies that Washington insists are feeding data directly to the Chinese government. Our Choi Jung-yun reports.
Time is running out for TikTok stateside. According to U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Sunday, President Trump will take action shortly against Chinese software companies that are feeding data directly to the Beijing government, including the popular video-sharing social media platform. Speaking to Fox News Channel Sunday Morning Futures, Pompeo says the president has said enough and will take action in the coming days with respect to a broad array of national security risks that are presented by software that connects to the Chinese government. President Trump told reporters on board Air Force One last Friday that he would issue an executive order for the social media platform to be banned in the U.S. as early as Saturday. Over the past several months, the Trump administration has repeatedly said TikTok, under its current parent company, the Beijing-based software firm ByteDance, poses a national risk because of the personal data it handles. Despite Washington's move to force the Chinese firm out of the country, Microsoft has confirmed it is in talks with ByteDance to buy TikTok in the U.S. In a statement Sunday, the world's biggest software maker said it intends to finish the deal by September 15th. In response, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said on Sunday that the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which reviews the national security implications of foreign business deals, is looking into the matter. Choi Jung-yun, Arirang News.
In a decision that could worsen already tense relations between Seoul and Tokyo, a South Korean court is expected to decide on whether to order that assets belonging to Japan's Nippon Steel Corp be sold off as a compensation following the 2018 Supreme Court judgment on wartime forced labor. Now, Tuesday this week marks 60 days since the court sent a public notice in June, and with Nippon Steel not having responded yet, the court can proceed with selling off the assets. Back in 2018, the Supreme Court of South Korea ruled in favor of the victims of forced labor under Japanese colonial rule and told the company to pay them around $84,000 each. And that initial ruling caused the relationship between South Korea and Japan to sour, leading to a trade war between the two neighboring countries. U.S. astronauts have ended their 62-day-long mission to the International Space Station after the capsule safely parachuted into the Gulf of Mexico. The splashdown was also the first water landing by American astronauts in 45 years. Our Kim Jae-hee with more.
Two American astronauts who flew to the International Space Station in SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule are now safely back on Earth, ending their historic 2-month mission. The space capsule carrying Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley splashed down into the Gulf of Mexico on Sunday afternoon local time, following a 21-hour journey after departing the ISS. It was also the first water landing by U.S. astronauts since the final Apollo moon mission 45 years ago, and an accomplishment no private company has ever achieved. The capsule started from orbital speed of 28,000 kilometers an hour, but slowed down to just 24 kilometers an hour at splashdown. After splashing down, the capsule was hoisted aboard a recovery ship with doctors and nurses, and the two astronauts flown ashore by helicopter after they had met with doctors. The mission is being hailed as a massive success.
Today was a big day. It was a big day for our nation. It was a big day for NASA, for human spaceflight, for SpaceX, and for our international partners.
The successful end to the crew's mission clears the path for another SpaceX crew launch, possibly in the coming months, and maybe even tourist flights from next year.
The operations worked extremely well, so we certainly feel comfortable that we're on the right path to carry commercial passengers not too long from now.
President Trump also congratulated NASA and SpaceX on the astronauts' safe return, calling the mission very successful. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
Good morning. This year's monsoon season is a real tough one, and right now central parts of the country are dealing with on and off torrential rainfall. When it does rain, it pours down, then takes a short break and starts all over again. And especially until this afternoon, brace for tropical storm force weather. 100 to 200 millimeters, possibly up to 300 millimeters for the capital region are expected. Flash flood watch has also been issued across the central region, so please be careful. A heavy rain warning is in place across the capital region, Gangwon-do province and Chungcheongbuk-do provinces, while surrounding areas are under heavy rain advisory along with strong winds. Meanwhile, southern provinces are dealing with sweltering heat with a heat wave advisory across the south. So Daegu will get up to 34 degrees Celsius this afternoon, Gyeongju at 32 degrees, which are similar to yesterday, Seoul topping out at 26 degrees this afternoon. Meanwhile, tropical storm Hagupit that formed to the east of the Philippines will not have a direct effect to Korean peninsula, but will bring massive moisture to already heavily soaked regions. So please monitor local media for the latest weather forecast. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
And that's our time at the hour, but we'll be back with more of the day's headlines, including the weather updates here in the nation coming up at noon Korea time, so do stick around. Thanks for watching and goodbye.